with pre-foreclosure, at least in my opinion, you have to be very assertive and you have to really guide people through what to do. And you got to know they're going to bail on you and they're going to they're not going to follow instructions of what they're supposed to do. And it makes it very difficult, especially as a newbie, because you have a lot of competition on those lists too. And you're dealing with people that don't take decisions. They don't follow through. They're very skittish, and they can easily be persuaded by other investors. So I just happened to do well on that list. And then COVID hit, and then everything changed all over again when I thought I had to figure it out, which I will give you this golden nugget. I was calling those lists 2 to 3 months before, because you can get that list pretty early on, and then I would realize that people were not, we weren't getting any major deals out of it. But then we figured out that if we call exactly 3 weeks before people went into foreclosure, then we can really turn them around, because these people now, for some reason, they believe they magically are going to get out of that situation because they have 3 months, and then in 3 weeks they're really pressured. And I gave myself 3 weeks because at 2 weeks I didn't have the skill set or the relationships to get the deal done. But last week I just got one done in literally 8 days, from start to finish, to moving them out and all that. And by I mean the girls. I just kind of, I'm part of it now, but they took care of everything. So
very cool. So yeah, it's like it's the ability to see what's going on and to measure the results and then duplicate what's actually working for you, which is what you do really well. You don't really go out and focus on a lot of other things. You kind of just say, okay, what's working right now for me? I'm just going to kind of double down on it. I'm going to build a process around it. I got my my team, and we're just going to really kind of just hone in. And so COVID hit and foreclosures, they didn't become as popular because no one had to pay their mortgage anymore, right? And so,
right.
At the time, you were still doing flips and stuff like that. You were kind of building up traction, if I remember, in the business at that point. And so how did this affect your business, and what is the change that you made in 2020 or late 2020 in order to adopt and still continue to close deals? In fact, triple your company over the course of COVID.
Yeah, so that was a scary moment. I actually had 2 properties on the market, and they both the buyers backed out on me, and that's when doubt starts to creep in. I'm like, shit, what? Should I really have left real estate? Because now I'm in the hole with a couple of properties. I have no more jobs, and I had another business, that martial arts business, and that one I was, I lost about 40% of the business in 2 months, and again, basic business principle is what made me be able to walk through that, because always keeping cash reserves for the rainy times that you never know what they are, and this was a perfect example of that. Otherwise, the gyms would have really suffered. But it was a blessing in disguise because real estate took off. But again, relying on the pre-foreclosure list was now out the window. And it sounds messed up, but we figured, well, the world's ending, people are dying. I'm sure probate's going to pick up. So we shifted from nothing but pre-foreclosures to nothing but probate. Before everybody jumps in probate, probate doesn't really work in Houston. We had to go to other states to do this. I'm just kidding. So we switched to probate, but the new challenge there was figuring out what the new system was, because now there's a sales cycle, and the sales cycles for us in probate seems to be 5 to 6 months. So if you're jumping into this and you jump into the probate list, you're probably not going to get any traction, because that means you have to be really, 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 really good at following up, which means you have to be really, really, really good at building rapport, which means you have to be really good at consistently staying with people for 5 to 6 months, even possibly a year or 2. It just takes that long, especially during COVID. Everything was backed up.
If your personal relationships aren't lasting more than 6 months, then don't get into probate.
Yeah, if you need cash now and you're a quick, you need a quick close, even if you get it under contract right away, then expect for it to close several months down the line.